Yes, thank you.
Haribol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Evamitan nigaditam Pristavan yadbhavan mama Nirnamyan mriyamananan Manusyeshu manisina.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Translation. Sri Shukdev Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threefold of death, so I have answered ye.
Text 2 to 7. Brahma Varkasa Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanaha Patim Indramindraya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajaipatin Devim Mayam to Sri Kamas Tejas Kamo Vibhas Vasum Vasu Kamo Vasun Rudran Vidya Kamo Viryavan Anandya Kamastwaditim Swargo Kamodite Sutan Visvan Devan Raja Kamaha Sadhyan Samsadhyako Visam Ayuskamo Sridau Devao Pushti Kamo Ilam Jajet Prasista Kama Purusho Roda Silo Kamata Sorao Rupadi Kamo Gadharvan Sri Kamo Prasara Utsvasim Adipatya Kama Sarvesham Yejeta Paramesvatitam Yajnam Yashkamaha Kosha Kamaha Pratechitamatasam Vidya Kamastu Girisham Dham Pratiryata Umam Satim.
Translation. One who desires to be absorbed in impersonal Brahmjyoti effulgence should worship the master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma or Brahaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra, and one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitor called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, the superintendent of the material world. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire, and one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra, incarnation of Lord Shiva, if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a great one who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planets should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vishwadeva, and one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Sadhya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as the Ashwini Kumaras. And person desiring a strong built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of Gandharva planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvashi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, the head of the universe. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead, and one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be greatly learned man should worship Lord Shiva, and if one desires a good marital relation he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva.
Text 8. Dharma Dharmata Uttama Slokam Tatu Tatvan Pritinjaye Yajet Raksha Kama Punya Janam Ojas Kamo Marudganam.
One should worship Lord Vishnu or his devotees for spiritual advancement in knowledge and for protection of heredity and advancement of a dynasty. One should worship the various demigods.
Text 9. Rajya Kamo Manun Devan Nirtim Twabhiya Charan Yajet Kama Kama Kamo Yajet Somam Akama Purusham Param.
One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons, and one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna. Text 10. Akama Sarva Kamova Muksha Kama Udaradhi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param.
A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead.
Text 11. Etavan eva jata tam iha nisri yashodayaha Bhagavati achalo bhavo yad bhagavata sangataha.
All the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by the association of pure devotees of the Lord.
Text 12. Yanam ya apratireni vrita gunur mikakshram atma prasada uchayatra gunesha sangaha kaivelya samatapatis Tvajha bhakti yogaha punirvrito hari kathasu ratim na kuryat.
Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and the real pulls of the material modes. Such knowledge is self satisfying due to its being free from the material attachment, and being transcendental, it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted?
Text 13. Saunaka uvacha itya bhivryatam raja nirshamya bharata sabha kim yanyat pritavan buryo vaiya sakim rishim kavim.
Shaunak said, the son of Vasudev, Srila Sukdev Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Parikshit Maharaj again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said?
Text 14. Etak chusrusatim vidvam van sutanurhasi bhasitum katahari katodharkaha satim sur shiur sadas druvan.
O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees.
Text 15. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandaveyo Maharataha Bala Kridana Kai Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adadi.
Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity.
Text 16. Vayashikascha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha Uragaya Gunodaraha Satyam Suyuri Samagame.
Dev Goswami, the son of Vasudev, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudev. So there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees.
Text 17. Ayurhatati Vaipumsam Udyanastam Chayanasau Tasyartiyat Sanonita Uttamaślokavartaya.
Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all good personality of Godhead.
Text 18. Tarava kim na jivanti, bastra kim na swasanti uta, na khadanti na mehanti, kim grame pasavo pare.
Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen?
Text 19. Swavidvara hostakarahi, samstuta purusha pasu, nayad karna pato peto, jasu namaya gadagraha.
Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastime of Lord Krishna, from evil.
And the persons who double chat in
Hare Krishna, I read that.
no, I'm just thinking about this noises coming through somebody's phone, extra conversation. Okay.
Yes.
Text 20. Baili baturu kramave kramanye nasrin vatakar napute narasya jivasati dardurike vasuta nako paragyati urugaya gatia.
One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord is to be considered to possesses ear holes like the holes of snakes and a tongue like the tongue of a frog.
Text 21. Bhara parampati. Oh dear, something's gone wrong. Bara parampata kirta kirita justam apiyota mangamna namin mukundam savo karauno kurute saparyam Hare lasat kanova.
The upper portion of the body, though crowned with the silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead, Hari.
Text 22. Balir hitete narane naranam lingani vishnu niriksatoye padao niram tao drumajan mabhajo Setra Nina Vrajato Harerio.
The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representation of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks.
Text 23. Jivan Chavo Bhaga Batan Grinum Naja to Mirtyo Bilamita Yastu Sri Vishnu Padya Manujastalasya Yaha Swasan Chavo Yash Tanaveda Gandham.
The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotees upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing.
Hare Krishna. Text
Hare
24.
Krishna.
Tadasmasaram hidayam batedam yadgriyamanyir harinamadeye na vikriyetata yadavikarayo netra jalam gatra ruhishu harsaha.
Certainly, that heart still framed, which, in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change even ecstasy takes place. Tears fill the eyes, or the hair stands on end.
Text 25. Athabhyanga manonukulam prabhasasi bhagavata pradhanaha yadaha vashyasakir atma vidya visharado nirpatim sadhu prishtaha.
O Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us, as it was spoken by the great devotee Sukdev Goswami, who is very expert in the transcendental knowledge, and who spoke to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you for supporting me in the translation. Thank you, Haribol.
Beautiful recitation, Mataji, of Sanskrit. Beautiful, brilliantly. Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you for
Krishna.
your beautiful recitation. Haribol.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Janukanya Mataji and Sunita Kumari Mataji. Very nice. Welcome, dear devotees, to today's chat session. We continue with our reading and discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, third chapter, chapter entitled Pure devotional service. And today we shall be discussing in more detail text number 21 and 22. Hare Krishna. So we'll start off by reciting the Mangala Charana prayers like we normally do. Please feel free to join in behind muted mics. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusati Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadi Shatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, was Bhara Param Patak Kirita Justam Api Utamangam Nanamena Mukundam Shavo Karuna Kurte Samparyam Hare Lasat Kanchana Kankano Va. Word for word meanings, synonyms. Bhara, a great burden. Param, heavy. Pata, silk. Kirita, turban. Justam, dressed with. Api, even. Uttama, upper. Angam, parts of the body. Na, never. Namit, bow down. Mukundam, Lord Krishna, the deliverer. Shavo, dead bodies. Karo, hands. No, do not. Kurute, do. Sapariam, worshipping. Hare, of the personality of Godhead. Lasat, glittering. Kanchana, made of gold. Kankano, bangles. Va, even though. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead. Hari. As stated here and before, there are three kinds of devotees of the Lord. The first-class devotee does not at all see anyone who is not in the service of the Lord. But the second-class devotee makes distinctions between devotees and non-devotees. The second-class devotees are therefore meant for preaching work, and as referred to in the above verse, they must loudly preach the glories of the Lord. The second-class devotee accepts disciples from the section of third-class devotees or non-devotees. Sometimes the first-class devotee also comes down to the category of the second-class devotee for preaching work. But the common man, who is expected to become at least a third-class devotee, is advised here to visit the temple of the Lord and bow down before the deity, even though he may be a very rich man or even a king with a silk turban or crown. The Lord is the Lord of everyone, including the great kings and emperors, and men who are rich in the estimation of mundane people must therefore make it a point to visit the temple of Lord Sri Krishna and regularly bow down before the deity. The Lord in the temple is the worshipable form. The Lord in the temple in the worshipable form is never to be considered to be made of stone or wood, for the Lord in his Acha incarnation as the deity in the temple shows immense favor to the fallen souls by his auspicious presence. By the hearing process, as mentioned herein before, this realization of the presence of the Lord in the temple is made possible. As such, the first process in the routine work of devotional service is hearing, is the essential point. Hearing by all classes of devotees from the authentic sources like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is essential. The common man who is puffed up with his material possession and does not bow down before the deity of the Lord in the temple, or defies temple worship without any knowledge of the science, must know that his so-called turban or crown will only succeed in further drowning him in the water of the ocean of material existence. A drowning man with a heavy weight on his head is sure to go down more swiftly than those who have no heavy weight. A foolish, puffed up man defies the science of God and says that God has no meaning for him. But when he is in the grip of God's law and is caught by some disease like cerebral thrombosis, that godless man sinks into the ocean of nescience by the weight of his material acquisition. Advancement of material science without God consciousness is a heavy load on the head of human society. And so one must take heed of this great warning. Common man, if he has no time to worship the Lord, may at least engage his hands for a few seconds in washing or sweeping the Lord's temple. Maharaj Prataparudra, the greatly powerful king of Orissa, was always very busy with heavy state responsibilities. Yet he made it a point to sweep the temple of Lord Jagannath at Puri once a year during the festival of the Lord. The idea is that however important a man may be, he must accept the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. This God consciousness will help a man even in his material prosperity. Maharaj Prataparudra's subordination before Lord Jagannath made him a powerful king, so much so that even the great Patan in his time could not enter into Orissa on account of the powerful Maharaj Prataparudra. And at last Maharaj Prataparudra was graced by Lord Chaitanya on the very grounds of his acceptance of subordination to the Lord of the universe. So even though a rich man's wife has glittering bangles made of gold on her hands, she must engage herself in rendering service to the Lord. Verse again, the upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden, if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man, if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead. Hari. So these verses we are reading at the moment, text number 20 to 25. Sutta Goswami is giving beautiful metaphors, limb by limb description of an animalistic person, a person who has a human body, who is endowed with great opportunity to progress his connection with Krishna, but does not use it. For us as aspiring devotees, I mean, personally, I see these verses like a mirror. When you look in the mirror, you see a reflection of yourself. So when we look at these verses, we can see ourselves in these verses. Are we tendering towards an animalistic life where we do not use all of the limbs of the body in the service of the Lord? Or we are progressing by using everything in the service of the Lord. So Sutta Goswami talks about ear holes, the tongue, the upper body, the hands, the eyes, the legs, the whole person, and the heart. And he gives criteria for each of these different limbs of the body or parts of the body to see how much one is engaged in the service of the Lord. So in this verse, he talks about the upper body of the Lord and the head. For the upper body, he's using the metaphor of a silken turban. And if one does not bow down or use one's upper body and one's head to bow down before the Lord, it's simply like a heavy burden. Recently I went to a wedding, and I was part of the family members, and we had to use some turban. So while the ceremony went on for a while, I was using this turban, and it felt really heavy. I couldn't wait for the ceremony to be over so I could take it off. So I was thinking, yeah, this verse is true. Srila Prabhupada spoke on this verse in Los Angeles one time ago, and Prabhupada says that this is describing a king. A king uses a heavy silk turban endowed with jewels. And the king, because of his very high position in society, can be very prone to become puffed up, to become proud. And if this king, who normally uses a turban, a silk turban with heavy jewels, does not bow down before the Lord, feeling himself proud, then his turban, meaning this position of being king, is simply a big burden for himself. That means the position of a king is a big burden. So in the same way, if we can draw it to any situation, not even a king, if we hold some position in life which makes us feel superior, which makes us feel that we do not need to bow down, then that position is just like a big burden. The whole philosophy of bowing down is to make ourselves understand our true position, that we are very insignificant. We are servants of the Lord, and we should bow down. Sometimes we see people come to the temple, and it's very awkward for them to bow down. They feel that people may think less of themselves, of them, if they bow down, because they are very important people. But those who are humble, they can very easily bow down. So Vedic culture means we practice to bow down. Trinadapi sunichena, tarodapi sahishnina, amanina amanadena, kirtanya sadahari. One should be ready to offer respects to everyone. Everyone. When we go to Vrindavan, we see people who have really understood the value, the purification that comes with bowing down. Simply by bowing down, we become purified. Our consciousness is becoming purified in the sense that we are understanding our real position. So there are devotees that they do something called Dandavat Parikrama. Some of them do it around Vrindavan, 3-4 miles. Some of them do it around Govardhan, and that takes many days. They'll offer full Dandavat. They'll put a stone, then they'll go next. And I was reading one book written by a devotee called The Dark Night of the Soul. And he was talking about how he first went to Vrindavan. And he said when he first went to Vrindavan, he decided that to enable himself to enter with the proper consciousness of Vrindavan, he needs to do Dandavat Parikrama first. Because when one does a Dandavat Parikrama, at the end of that parikrama, one feels very light, one feels very uplifted. Why? Because the burden of pride has been removed by constantly, again and again and again, offering those obeisances, those dandavats. One's consciousness becomes purified. Once, in the early days of ISKCON, Prabhupada had a disciple called Garga Muni. Now, Garga Muni, he had this problem that he would not bow down before Srila Prabhupada. Everyone else would bow down, but he wouldn't bow down. But he started to feel awkward. So one day he went to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, I don't bow down because I don't want to be artificial. When I'm ready, then I'll bow down. Is that okay? Prabhupada said, no. First you bow down. And by the process of bowing down, the feeling will come. After bowing down, then the feeling will come. And then he did as Prabhupada said. Prabhupada was right. The more he bowed down, the more the feeling came that he should bow down. This is the process. It's the process of purification. And that head that doesn't bow down before the Lord, it's just like a big burden, like the burden of a heavy turban on one's head. And the second point being made here is the hands. These hands may be decorated with so many things, but it's like the hands of a dead man or a dead person or a dead woman. If these hands are not engaged in the service of the Lord. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about Maharaj Prataparudra. Maharaj Prataparudra was the king of Orissa. He was a devotee of the Lord. Actually, we're reading in the temple at the moment, I think it's the 10th chapter of the Madhya Lila. And the 10th chapter starts off with Maharaj Prataparudra meeting Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he asks Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya whether he can arrange a meeting between him and Lord Chaitanya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said it's not possible. King asks why? He says two reasons. One is the Lord is not here at the moment. He's touring South India. And secondly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't meet any worldly persons. A king is considered to be a worldly person. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, one of the big obstacles on the path of bhakti is to associate with worldly persons, and he would not meet the king. But Maharaj Prataparudra, because he was a devotee of Lord Jagannath, every year he would sweep, he would come in front of the Ratha Yatra cart and he would sweep. And just by his submissive attitude towards Lord Jagannath and the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eventually met him and bestowed his mercy upon him. And Prabhupada says here, just by his submission to Lord Jagannath, he was one of the few kings that the Pathans, the Mughal emperors, could not defeat. They never took over Orissa because Maharaj Prataparudra was so powerful that the Pathan, they could not enter Orissa. So very beautiful verse. I think we have to do 22 also, so let's do that. Barayate te nayane naranam lingani vishnu nanidikshatoye pado nirnam todruma janma bhajo shetrani nanu vrajato hareyo. The eyes which do not look at symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his form, his name, his quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock. And the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks. Purport because of time. Especially for the householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu, forms like Radha, Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or Sitaram especially, or any other form of the Lord like Nrsimha, Varaha, Gauranitai, Matsya, Kurma, Shaligram Shila, and many other forms of Vishnu like Trivikrama, Keshava, Achyuta, Vasudev, Narayan, and Damodar, as recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas. And one's family should worship strictly following the directions and regulations of Arshana Vidhi. Any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. And all the members of the household should be engaged in the daily service of the Lord, beginning from morning 4 a.m. till night 10 p.m. by performing Mangal Artik, Niranjana, Archan, Puja, Kirtan, Shringar, Bhoja Vaikali, Sandhya Artika, Pata, Bhoga at night, and Shayan Artika, etc. Engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas the Archan process is practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge, and that is the guaranteed way for attainment of spiritual perfection. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master, who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress towards the path back home, back to Godhead. One should not become a pseudo-spiritual master as a matter of business to meet one's family expenditures. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master. And one of the verses in that description reads, Shri Vigrahara Dana Nityanana Shringara Tanman Dira Majanado Yuktasya Bhaktams Janik Yugodopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. Shri Vigraha is the archer, a suitable worshipable form of the Lord. And the disciple should be engaged in worshipping the deity regularly by Shringar, by proper decoration and dressing, as also by Mandira Marjan, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of the transcendental name, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan and spiritual instructions of scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another's temple where all the above performances are regularly executed. Visiting the temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well dressed in a well decorated, sanctified temple, naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. People should visit holy places like Vrindavan, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men like kings and rich merchants constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees of the Lord, like the six Goswamis. And it is the duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotees, Anuvraj. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord and be guided by proper men who know the signs. This is called Anuvraj. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in that way is good as a standing tree, condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by great acharyas, and thereby not being misled by the atheistic propaganda of money-making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters. What a beautiful verse in Prabhupada. What can we say? Srila Prabhupada has explained this verse so beautifully in the purport. And here the metaphor that, or the limb that Shukadev Goswami is talking about is the eyes. The peacock has feathers, and the feathers have eyes. But those eyes are useless eyes. One cannot see, one cannot look, one cannot benefit. So those eyes that are not used, as Prabhupada specifically in the purport focuses on seeing the deity, worshipping the deity. They are simply like plumes. And Prabhupada encourages especially the household. He said the householders means household life should revolve around the deity. All the family members, even the child just past 12 years old, should be initiated, should be engaged in worshipping the deity. And by dressing the deity very nicely, decorating the deity with beautiful jewelry, then one experiences the festival of the eyes. The eyes are properly engaged, the eyes are satisfied, as opposed to using the eyes for sense gratification, and there's no satiation. The eyes cannot be satisfied by some material object. Only by seeing the Lord will the eyes feel, now my eyes are perfect. By seeing the deity. And Prabhupada says, if we do not have a deity at home, this shringar, all of these activities, deity worship is not taking place, then one should go to the temple of another person, another devotee, or one goes to the temple that Srila Prabhupada has created, or the great devotees have created throughout the world. But Prabhupada also emphasizes that we should do this deity worship under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. One should follow the instructions of the spiritual master. The spiritual master will direct one how to properly worship the deity according to the scriptures. And Prabhupada says, formerly, the kings and the rich people, they understood that by creating this facility of a temple where there was a deity and the deity is properly worshipped and there's distribution of prasad and the deity is decorated with beautiful dresses and ornaments and flower garlands, that would uplift people. Then people will be using their eyes. You know, people have a tendency to want to use their senses, and if they have not have positive ways, then they will misuse it for sense gratification. And the second part is the legs. And the legs are said or meant in this purport to move to the holy places. Prabhupada says it's natural tendency people have to want to travel and see places. And all the travel companies and the travel agents, they try to engage one to go see sightseeing places. And Prabhupada says there's no benefit. We should go to the holy places. And then Prabhupada gives a further warning. Yeah, you can go to the holy places, but the main purpose to go to the holy places is anuvraj. Anu means to follow, Raj means, saintly persons. We should hear. Prabhupada says, don't go to a holy place to see. Go to the holy place to hear. Because at the holy places, one will find the great devotees of the Lord. who carry the Lord within their heart. And when we go to the holy place, and when we hear, and when that sound vibration enters our ears, it touches the heart. And then when we see, we'll see with the eyes anointed with the salve of love. Otherwise, let alone sightseeing, even if we go to the holy places, it can almost become like a sightseeing. Okay, I've seen the deity, tick in the box. No connection, no stirring of the heart, no invocation of any bhavas. Because the heart is normally stone-like. But when we hear from the saintly persons, we hear the kirtan, that sound vibration will go into our ears, purify us, and then the full import of going to the holy places is fulfilled. Beautiful verses in purport. We'll stop here. We'll take any realizations, any questions, any comments anyone has. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Janukani Mataji.
Yes, I love that statement you made about the more you bow down, the more it becomes natural. I think it's so true, because I've observed lots of people go in the temple and they're hesitantly, they're not sure what it is unless you actually help them. Like I'm taking friends there, and they watch me and they learn and they want to know why, and they can see what joy it brings to me. So they pursue it. But if you watch some people, they just do it because other people are doing it and not pursuing it. So they don't follow it purely, and it is a struggle for some people really when they go to the temple, if they don't know what it means and how important it is.
Yeah, it's very awkward for some people to bow down. Very, very awkward.
Totally, yes, yeah.
They go and they see other people and they start to enter a very uncomfortable space. But when they do it, it's like a big relief. A big burden has come off. You're bowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the humility brings in you, and you feel so relaxed, and
Yeah.
in a way the whole body gives in, and it's so pure and a good feeling, and it brings you closer to Krishna and Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Especially when you go and bow to Prabhupada, he does something for you. He shows you the way.
Last week on Ekadasi, I went to the temple, during my lunch break in Soho Street. And I was in the restaurant and I met one devotee, and I haven't seen him for a long time. And he came and he bowed down in front of me. And, I was in my suit and it was in the busy restaurant. I didn't bow down before him. I just touched the floor and then I touched my head. But for the next few days, that just troubled me. It troubled me so much. Why I didn't, irrespective of where I was, what the place was in this restaurant, he bowed down. Why didn't I bow down? It really, I felt to myself,
Hare Krishna. Can you mute yourself, please?
Okay, I've muted, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I just felt so bad, and I was thinking I just lost an opportunity for purification there, and it is said when we see a sannyasi, we should bow down immediately. Should bow down.
That happened to me a while, and it haunted me for about a year now, actually. There's one Mataji, I know her, but I didn't know her that well. And when she visited the temple, everybody was hugging her and really being close. And she was loving it. And she looked on me, and I wasn't sure if I should hug her because I didn't know her that well. And it really haunted me. And I'm a huggable person. I could kick myself, and all year I suffered. And I'm hoping to tell her, but the next time she saw me, she came and hugged me, and I reciprocated so happily. So I know what you're saying. It happened to me so many times, but this particular time, it haunted me so much. Yeah, yeah. And I was always hoping that the opportunity will come, and it did.
Mm.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Chandra.
Hare Krishna. Hare Prabhu.
Something you said just reminded me, touched my heart a little bit as well, with when we're doing Godam Parikram or even Vrindavan Parikram. You said there are many great souls who are doing Dandavat Parikram. There are some great souls who are doing Dandavat Parikrams with same place. They will do 108 Dandavats. It takes them several years, as you know.
Yeah.
They sleep at the same spot. They have a stone, and they count the 108 stones. They will do Dandavat in the same place 108 times, same place. Then they will move to the next.
Incredible.
And it would take them several years. And there, I've witnessed one couple. I went 3 times in 1 year once, and that same couple were only a quarter of the way through, and I kept seeing them each time I went 3 times. And what sacrifice, what great austerity, and what great souls these people must be to be able to have the good fortune of doing 108 Dandavat pranams in one spot before they move to the next spot, and doing the whole Golden Parikram, 28 kilometers like that.
Wow.
It's just, it's out of this world.
When they finish those parikrams, they feel completely cleansed. Completely cleansed. Yeah. You know, there was a story I heard, Prabhu. There was this young man. He wanted to go to Jagannath Ratha Yatra, and he stayed some distance away. But he decided he was going to go for Ratha Yatra by doing Dandavat Parikrama. So he started off from his village months before Ratha Yatra, and he was offering Dandavats and going and going and going towards Jagannath Puri. But his pace wasn't what he anticipated. It was slow. So it so happened he was still some distance away. Ratha Yatra day came. Lord Jagannath was, chariot was being pulled, and this young person offering this Dandavat, he was not going to make it. But lo and behold, Lord Jagannath's cart stopped. This is a true story. It stopped, and it wouldn't move. It wouldn't move till this young man with his Dandavat Parikram came there. And when he came, he saw Ratha Yatra was still going on, and Lord Jagannath was waiting for him. It was just an amazing story.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, it's just, I mean, you just realize how so completely, for me at least, how so completely and utterly insignificant we are in our bhakti compared to these great souls that can sacrifice their entire life just to please the Lord. System. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that comment. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Just wanted to say something. I have recently been to Vrindavan as well, and I've seen quite a few people who do Dandavat Parikrama as well. So with due respect to them, and I was with another Prabhuji, Ramcharan Prabhu was with us, and I just asked him, I said, physically, I am not capable of doing the Dandavat, but I do admire those who do. So does their bhakti becomes better than mine? So very nice, he said, there is different ways of pleasing God. Krishna will be happy, whatever little what you can do if you are doing. So like we say, for us, chanting is the best way of pleasing God. So that's what we do. But maybe those who are doing Dandavats, they can do Dandavats, but well, I know some people who do it. But if you tell them to chant, they say, no, that I find very difficult. So my perception was like, from what Ramshan Prabhu also explained, that you can do dandavats, that also pleases the Lord, or even if you're doing your chanting, even that pleases the Lord.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Each to his own in itself. You know, whatever works for our purification.
Yeah.
You know, it's extending ourselves. You know, to invoke the Lord's mercy. You know, different people can extend themselves and
different ways. Yeah.
different ways. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was a very nice class. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? No. Sunita Kumari.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I just want to say nothing goes in vain in the service of the Lord. Whatever you little do, whatever big you do, it's all appreciated by the Lord anyway.
That's true.
Thank you.
Everyone's got different capacity. We serve the Lord to our capacity. Yeah, we go out of our way to please Krishna in our own way.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
There's a quote that that's quite potent that Radhanath Swami said, that God doesn't listen to the words, he listens to the intentions. So it's the mood with which we're doing the service which is important, not the service. Well, of course, the service is important, but the mood is much more potent and more important. But it shouldn't be that this is, you know, we quite often we as humans have a tendency to be lazy, and we will use the path of least resistance because it suits us, not because we could do more if we wanted to do more. It's just a question of our intention. If we have an intent to do and go, you know, Krishna will reciprocate and provide the means to do. So it depends on our intentions as well.
Vanita Mataji asked the question, can women do Dandavat Parikrama? Generally, according to Vedic culture, women don't do Dandavat because, you know, it's certain parts of the body touch the ground. There's a whole culture around that. But I've seen women do Dandavat Parikrama and they do it on their sides. You know, they offer the Dandavat on their side. In Vrindavan, I've seen women do that. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Please kindly accept my humble obeisances or good Prabhupada. Prabhuji, very nice class. Thank you. Very nice discussion also. And thank you for all the contribution, whoever's contributing. But as you said, women, they don't do Dandavat Pranam. But one thing that I always tell Mataji is, you don't do Dandavat Pranam. Why, when you address someone, you say, accept my Dandavat Pranam. If you don't do it, why do you use the word? So please correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, you can look at it different, Mataji. You cannot do the physical Dandavat, but you can do the mental Dandavat.
But you know what? I used to tell my guru Sagar Pranam, like Dandavat Pranam, Sagar Pranam, right?
What that means, Mataji? Sagar Pranam.
That means you give your Pranam as huge as a Sagar, as a sea, as an ocean, right? Okay. But if you don't do something, why do you have to tell it? This makes me laugh sometimes when I hear Mataji saying Dandavat Pranam. And I have corrected few Matajis who they kindly accepted by understanding that yes, when we don't do something, why do we have to use it, right? Yeah. So I'm sorry for this. I'm not everybody laugh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for this.
We'll have a different discussion one day about Dandavat, Pranam. Interesting by itself. Okay, time's gone on. It's almost 9 o'clock. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your attendance and your lovely participation. All glories to your service, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha. Patitanam Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful
Thank
class.
you,
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.